Mr. Dan Goodwin is a professional mountain climber, but he is famous for climbing some of the tallest buildings in the world.
There's nothing to fear but itself. But what I came to the realization was, when I really started thinking about fear, because I really made this part of my study, what is fear? Think about that for a moment. Fear is not something that you can put inside of a glass jar, like a butterfly. It's not something you can put under the microscope and look at it and analyze it and determine what it is. There's no way of even measuring fear. But yet, at the same time, fear has the ability to make nations go to war. It can destroy relationships out of jealousy. It's all fear. Just imagination. You're imagining your partner having an affair on you. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. It can destroy companies. I see it happen all the time. Companies who are once at the top are suddenly out of business because of lack of innovations. They were afraid to invest the money. It's all your imagination. And once you realize this, once you realize that fear is nothing more than a fiction of your imagination, that's something. And I realized that these emotions were really nothing more than like canaries in the coal mine. They were letting my mind know what I was actually thinking. Now, think about sometimes when you're doing different things, and whatever comes up here, it could be like, you could be all of a sudden experiencing anger. Someone says something you don't really like, and all of a sudden you find yourself getting pissed off. Well, what's really going on? It's your mind going off, really. And so I realized that all I really had to do was literally just switch the channel. Switch it to something that I really wanted to watch, something that I wanted to think about. And I started really focusing on myself climbing this building and getting to the top. Because if I focused on all the other things, what did it do? It just evoked anxiety, fear, anger. I believe that behind every single decision that we make, there is a compelling reason. You know, and it could be someone in your family had a drug problem. Maybe it was your mom or dad. Maybe it was yourself. Maybe it was a good friend of yours. But somewhere down inside, that was the reason why you decided you wanted to become an undercover narcotic agent. Am I right? Something drove you to it? Well, believe it or not, that is the first step into developing a bulletproof mind. Now, I asked you just a little bit a moment ago why you guys are all here. Because I really want you to think about that. You may think that you're here just for the convention. You may think you're here just because you're scoring the hours. You may think that you're here because you're checking out the stuff. But actually, I think you're actually here, whether you realize it or not, for a much greater reason. What was your true north? Now, on the surface, you go, what do you mean true north? Well, I want you to think about that for a second, because you can take a compass and you can shake it all up. You can throw it in a box, shake it all up, throw it in a closet, pull it back out, pull it back out again, and guess what? It always finds its true north again. Well, in many ways, our minds are very much the same way. You know, we go outside and we have no control of what's going on out there. We have no control of the traffic or the weather. And our minds sometimes could be spinning with all different thoughts. But yet, the key is figuring out a way of how you can get your mind to always find that true north, so that you can get focused and clear instantly. A compass doesn't take very long to get back in true north. You pull it out literally in a matter of what? 1, 2, 3 seconds? It's back in true north again. Your mind can do the same thing. And so what we're going to be going through here this afternoon is some of the techniques that I have developed on how to do that. Of how when you're in the most stressful situations, when your life is on the line, your buddy's life on the line, and everything is at stake where you could actually die if you don't do it, how do you achieve that crystal clear mind? So that's what we're going to be. And I learned something about suction cups. You can take a suction cup and you can stick it on your refrigerator or into your counter, and you can slide it all around. Try it sometime. You'll have fun with it now that I've shared this with you. And it'll slide around, and then you try to pull it off. And damn, it's really hard to pull off. And it takes a bit to pull it off. Well, the suction cups work the same way. They are only designed to hold 70 pounds. That's why you see them always carrying with 3 or 4 suction cups. But if you lean back on it, and just lean back, real creepy feeling. Especially, I mean, I'm like traversing across the glass, and all of a sudden, I can't get my suction cup to stick. Holy shit. I'm 63 floors up. And I'm holding on to one suction cup, and that's starting to slide. And I had these Skyhooks that I hoped that I'd never used, but I had them just in case. I'm now in Chicago, and I'm looking up at this building, and it's 100 stories tall. And I realize that this is not going to be an easy climb, because I'm going to not only now is I have to deal with climbing the building, but I'm going to have to deal with someone trying to kill me. And I'm not exactly sure how he's going to do it, but for some bizarre reason, I think my wetsuit has something to do with it. And when I climbed, sure enough, I had looking up, and I remember seeing this water coming down on me. And I'm wondering, why is that water? It wasn't supposed to rain today. And things work out best for those who make the best of things that work out. Well, what does that actually mean? It means that sometimes in life, things don't work out quite as you thought they were going to be. We've all had those experiences. The key, though, is figuring out a way of how to make what does work out work for you. Because it never really does work out according to plan, very rarely. You know? So why don't I just go climb the World Trade Center? And, you know, it's like, and while I'm at it, why don't I see if I can climb both of them at the same time? That was my intention, was to climb both at the same time. It's kind of weird that in '93, as we all know, they tried bombing one. They actually bombed one, and the intention was to knock one over to the other. And of course, in 9/11, we know what happened. They took both down. There's been this obsession with the World Trade Centers for a long time, and I had it before them, but for completely different reasons. I just wanted to climb them and get on the building. And I had this videographer who was with me. His name is Tony, and a former girlfriend of mine who I hadn't seen in like almost a year, Pia, and we're walking around the building, and it's Labor Day in 2010, and Tony is freaking out. He's just going into panic mode, and I could just see it on him. He's just not sure exactly how to be with it, because he's looking around and he doesn't even know how I'm going to get on the building. He's seeing all these security cameras everywhere, and I find him back in the parking lot, and I say, "Hey, Tony, what's going on?" He said, "Dude, I just can't handle it." I said, I can't shoot this. And I said, that's okay, I get it. I think maybe you should just take my car. So I gave him the keys to my car, and I watched Tony drive away. Now, Tony's driving away with my car. I'm standing in this parking lot looking up at the Millennium Tower. And imagine the thoughts that are going through my mind. I'm starting to wonder, maybe Tony's picking up on something that I'm not picking up on. Maybe he knows this is my last climb and I'm actually going to die on this building. Wow, that's a creepy thought. And I wasn't really sure what to do. I'm like going, wow. So I'm walking along the street, and I remember stopping, and Pia turns to me and goes, "Are you getting an opening or a closing?" Now, we all have the gut intuition. We all have that gut feeling sometimes. Now, one thing I have learned, I'm old enough to look back on it, every time I've had that gut feeling, that deep feeling inside that something wasn't quite right, think back on it. You are right every single time. Your gut feeling is your only warning system that you may ever get. Now, you may be on the verge of kicking down a door, okay? And if all of a sudden everything inside you is saying, whoa, 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 wait, listen to that. Don't ignore a warning that you get like that. Because what if that door is booby-trapped? What if there's a guy on the other side already got a shotgun aimed at you, and he's ready to blow you away? Pay attention to it. Because I pay attention to that, and I stood there, and I remember there's one way you can always test your gut feeling, okay? And it's one of the things that I've really worked on and developing. If you turn around and just take a nice deep breath and just focus, and you just start, you ask the question, should I do this or shouldn't I do this?
And if all of a sudden you find yourself having a hard time breathing and a tightening in your chest and your stomach is just starting to churn, that's a no. Don't ignore it. But if all of a sudden you get this feeling of just whoosh, this feeling like you're getting breathing and you find yourself, your attitude is just changing, and all of a sudden you get an opening where all of a sudden you're going like, no, I'm ready to go for it. That's an opening. It's all systems go. So don't forget why you became a cop in the first place. Don't lose that, because that very spirit that brought you into the force, the very spirit that brought you into this room, is what's going to get you through all the hard times that could come up ahead of you, or the hard times that you may be going through. And that, my friends, is what I came to share with you, is that all of you have this special gift. You're definitely not your average person. You may think that maybe you don't have any special gifts, but I'm here to tell you, you wouldn't be here if you were just average. You're definitely part of the upper 1%, whether you realize it or not, because not everybody could do what you do. So hold yourself high, think of yourself as being strong, have powerful thoughts, be courageous, be brave, be the shining beacon of hope for the rest of the community. Even though sometimes you feel like you got to dive into the depths of it all, don't forget who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. Rise above it. When you go home, be the best person you can be. Love your wife. Love your kids. Love your community. And don't forget that what you're doing is worth it, because you are making a difference. And I just want all of you to know that on behalf of all of the United States, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Very honored. Thank you. Thank you.